Hello everyone and welcome to another history video. So today we're taking a look at blue-white high noon deck in history format. So this is a deck that has been requested before, and we're actually going to be playing with a couple of new cards, not from Lorwyn, but from the Avatar set, and that is called the Aang Swift Savior. This is a 3-mana card that is actually going to replace the Talion's Throne Guard. The reason why is obviously the fact that this is a 1 mana cheaper, and it has almost the same effect. Can return any non-land permanent or a spell. Versus Aang, it says that you can return a creature or a spell to their opponent's hand. One downside here is the fact that the Aang is a legendary, so we're only going to be playing 2 copies of it, and even if you do draw 2 copies, this card actually has an additional text that says Waterbend 8, transform Aang into the other side, which is the Ocean's Fury with the 5/5 stats, and it has reach and trample. Whenever this card attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control. So even if you have, 2 copies of Aang stuck in your hand, you can play one of them, transform Aang into the other side, and then you can play the extra copy onto the battlefield whenever you want. Obviously, the transform side here is actually pretty powerful because one of the weaknesses of this deck is the fact that it had a little bit of a hard time closing out the game just because a lot of the creatures have only 2 power. So if this card does transform, it'll end the game rather quickly, so that's an upside. But because we're also playing Aang, we're also going to be trying to incorporate a little bit more 1-drops in the deck, which I've tested in the blue-black tempo shell called Hydroponics Architect. This card was actually phenomenal in that deck, even in Historic, due to being able to play 4 copies of Lorwyn Revealed, and also being able to play 4 copies of Prismatic Vista. So despite not having like a true dual land fetch land, the Hydroponics Architect can actually do some nasty work. So along with the Hydroponics Architect and Aang being able to transform, now the deck has some ways to kind of close out the game very fast. And in the sideboard, we're also going to be playing a new card here called Glen Elendra Guardian. So this is a card that you can bring, a +1 force of negation against other blue decks. And against other greedy mana bases, we also have a Harbinger of the Seas that we can bring. And this is also pretty huge because this deck struggled a little bit against something like Eldrazi before. So if you do find yourself against an Eldrazi opponent, you can Harbinger of the Seas and shut down their mana base. And lastly, Rest in Peace. I think the Rest in Peace right now is really, really good, especially against a Jund opponent. They play Jar Soul, Barogoyf, Hierogoyf. So if the Rest in Peace does come down, it's going to be probably game over. Potentially, we want to have more copies of Rest in Peace. So we'll see how the games go today. So having said that, I'm going to be hopping over to some History Pets of 3 to show you guys that does. So let's hop on over. I think I might actually try to keep this hand. And hopefully I draw land. Another War Job deck. Okay, that's a land. I'm guessing this is another Aura? Yeah, I'm guessing this is just another Aura. A lot of Auras today, huh? I think I'm trying to get to my Divine Purge as soon as possible. Yeah, this is the second Aura opponent. A Hexing Squelcher, huh? That's a card. Yeah, definitely didn't expect a Hexing Squelcher out of them. An Aura deck that's playing Hexing Squelcher. Interesting. No lands. Oh, it's not an Aura deck. Okay. I could go Divine Purge right now, or I can wait. Wait until I have a high noon down. Maybe that's not too bad of an idea. Man, Hexing Sculpture main deck. That's crazy. Ooh, Headliner. Might be that, actually. They can't activate it, actually. Hallowed Fountain. Can I afford to shock? Maybe I guess I kind of have to. And now they're gonna play the Hexing Sculpture again. And we're kind of back to square one. Oh, they went with the Mother Boon first. I'll play this and... No. That was actually bad. Because of the Hexing Sculpture also says it can't be countered, so I should have an even interrupter for that. You know what I mean? At least I didn't get punished there. Amp the Raptor. I gotta save the Aven Interrupter for their Hexing Sculpture. Archon. Okay, looks like they found out that they can play Hexing Sculpture. Why would you surrender? Like, I'm at 5? I only have 3 cards. I mean, if these were counter spells, maybe they, you know... I can see that. But still shouldn't surrender, in my opinion. Their mana base looks absolutely bad, so we're gonna bring in some Harbinger. Seems like the right thing to do. I do need Aang for Hexing Sculpture. Tameo is good if it transforms. I think I'm just going to take out some Hydroponics Architect and maybe like 2 copies of Spellcaller. I'll try something like this. Oh, maybe I actually sideboarded it wrong. Because if I'm bringing Harbinger, I'll need double white. And to establish double white is to potentially get the Hydroponics Architect to land on like a dual land or something. Yeah. So we're just looking for Harbinger. Man, people have no patience against this deck. Okay, I think this hand might be a little bit too slow, but we'll see. Aang. Sure. Since I'm gonna be playing High Noon anyways. By the way, Aven Interrupter and Aang actually has some synergy together. Doesn't it? Maybe I do care about it? Wow. Like I said, people just don't have patience. Like, look at my hand. I have six lands total. Like, I flooded. But they just went poof. I'm out of here. I want nothing to do with your deck. It's actually kind of insane. I don't think Divine Purge is very good in this matchup, right? Okay, we got Hydroponics Architect with the Prismatic Vista and Lorwyn revealed. Pretty sick. Ooh, Fatal Push. Into Hexing Squelcher. We do have these cards for that. But anything after that? Ooh, Varaglyph already. I don't have a Rest in Peace right now. I could Spell Queller and then block the Hexing Squelcher. But then, if they get a creature, they might resolve it. Like so. I think I just need Rest in Peace. Right? I just need Rest in Peace right now. Snuff out.
I've read nearly the entire library.
Might actually have to block this thing. Another Glyph. not it. Okay, so maybe we want to mulligan for Rest in Peace, potentially. Like, the card is just amazing against them. Or maybe I want more copies of Rest in Peace in the sideboard? Yeah, maybe. So I have 2 copies of Fragment Reality. I'm gonna go down on a copy opening. And 1 Lorwyn revealed. Man, if they just didn't have that Fatal Push at the start, would have been so good. Would have been so good. This hand is okay. Nothing too special. A Thoughtseize. Short. Think they're gonna get rid of a Reprieve here. Makes sense. Got a High Noon. That's a good one. I'm gonna put a stop on my upkeep. Oh, wow. Why do they surrender like that? Like, the game just begun. I don't get it. Nice. Architect. Prismatic Vista, Lorwyn revealed. Feel like I'm having a sense of deja vu here. Against the Giganta too. Okay, so looks like we're playing as some sort of a Jund. They're gonna take away the Architect here. Unless they have a removal spell. Like I said. I was gonna cycle one of the Lorwyn revealed, but looks like I'm not going to. A Fading Hope. Okay, so we got 5 lands for the Lorwyn revealed. They discarded the Fatal Push. So opponent has 3 cards in the graveyard. 4 cards in the graveyard. I'm waiting for them to cast the Croxa so I can spell Queller it. I think I just have to take the damage here. Okay, this looks like it's a potentially a Fatal Push. Oh, they played a Prismatic Vista. I actually didn't see that. Just drew too many lands. Alright, rest in peace. I'm wondering if I should play the Harbinger. Since they're playing things like Kroxa, I probably shouldn't. Yeah, I'm actually thinking of going up on the rest in peace. I'm kind of thinking that right now. Aang doesn't seem very good against them, since I don't want to bounce an ETB creature. Okay, this time we got to go first. So they're gonna get rid of a reprieve here. But we have a Hydroponics Architect down. That's really good. And a High Noon, apparently. I might actually just go High Noon here. And then we got another Prismatic Vista with the Hydroponics Architect and a bunch of interaction spells. Seems pretty good. Looking at their mana base, I'm definitely thinking now, maybe... Yeah, maybe I should play... Harbinger. Like, I feel like the Harbinger actually could go pretty hard against opponent. Let me see what I can draw here. I think I'll just Fading Hope again. A castle. I think I'm looking for an interaction spell. Yeah, Rest in Peace is good. This will effectively shut down all the glyphs they have. So now we don't even have to like counter glyphs if they do come down. Because they're gonna be 0-1. Oh yeah, Divine Purge is another card that can go out. For something else. Okay, Castle Ardenvale is really good. Okay, we go to the next one. Yeah, they're even playing Arena of Glory. I should definitely bring Harbingers instead of a Divine Purge. Alright, we have a Rest in Peace. That's really good. Ignoble Hierarch. I'll play the Hydroponics Architect. I could have just Lorwyn revealed first. And then potentially get like 2 mana cards up next turn, but... Okay, Grist is definitely annoying. Grist is definitely annoying.
Nothing like warm tea and a fascinating story.
I could definitely get run over this game. I think I'll play the Rest in Peace and probably Fading Hope here. Yeah, I'll leave up a Fading Hope for something else. The Grist is definitely a problem. Grist is definitely a problem. So that is their play. I do need a land here. I really do need a land. Harbinger? Harbinger does potentially work, but they have a Grist to get rid of it. I think I just need a land. Perfect. We have a Reprieve and Remand. We'll slowly kill the Grist with the Spell Queller potentially coming down. So they're gonna plus. High Noon. Gonna draw once more. I'm gonna play the High Noon and chalk this in. It's definitely not over yet. Definitely not over yet. They have a Grist. You know, they have a Grist. I think I want one more land here. Okay, so now... So 5 to activate, which isn't nearly enough. So I Harbinger, they sacrifice the Grist. And then they play the Giganta. Like, that doesn't seem very good to me. I needed like an even Interrupter or even a Fading Hope. I think if I had a Fading Hope, it would have been pretty good. What if they play Giganta? I play the High Noon on the Giganta. Okay, let's think about this. So, if I play the Spell Queller, I can attack the Grist. And then High Noon the Giganta, but it still doesn't really solve anything. Fragment Reality. What if I go Spell Queller, attack the Grist? So I Harbinger, and then Fragment Reality the Giganta. Because let's say I go Fragment Reality, but then what are they gonna play though? I feel like maybe this is actually pretty safe because they only have one swamp. You know what I mean? Like, let's say they get a Baragoi out, like, who cares? A Duress. I do have a problem though. I only have one plane. Which means my future Aven Interrupters are gonna be shut down. Which isn't good. So I do need to draw something here. You know what? Hydroponics Architect, that's a card. Like I said, would not be able to play the Aven Interrupter. And we exactly got Aven Interrupter. Okay, Sink into Stupor is actually a very good card. We could also draw a Lorwyn Reveal to get a white source because Hydroponics Architect probably has gotten a white source. Very nice. So yeah, whatever Jund deck they're playing definitely gets shut down by the Harbinger. I'm assuming their deck doesn't even play Magus in the sideboard. Well, well, well. I don't like this hand. I don't like this hand at all. It's not a good hand, that's for sure. Demir. Into a Lazov. A Kethis, maybe? Could be Kethis. I'll go Spell Queller. I don't suppose they can kill this Spell Queller. It's not like they played Prismatic Vista here. We need an Archon quick though. More Lazov. More Lazov. Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do with the Lazov, so I'll just keep Spell Quellering. If I can. Watch like a third Lazov comes out. No third Lazov. Attack of the Spell Queller. Okay, you know what? I will say opponent just drawing a land every single turn isn't very good for me. So if they have a Fatal Push, they can crack the Clue token and then Fatal Push. I guess that's it. Okay, so they did have it. What is the Lazov trying to become? I wonder. A one-sheet Tong. I feel like this reprieve actually doesn't do much.
I've read nearly the entire library.
Ouch. Anything that's not a land, potentially? That'd be nice. Five, six, seven. We are one short. Whenever this attacks, put +1/+1 on each tapped creature you control. So we reprieve, and then if they have a counter spell, we can Fading Hope the spell queller and then replay the spell queller. Right. The mere control, potentially. The mere control. Alpha Force Negation and Glen Elendra. I probably should have Rest in Peace. I'll go down on 2 Spell Quellers, a copy of an Aang, and a Remand. I'll also go down on 2 High Noons. No! I think I should still keep it. Man, a third Hydroponics Architect. That's a bit rough. Psychic Frog comes out. I should have maybe mulliganed this hand. Too many Hydroponics Architect. If it came out on turn 1, it would have been actually pretty good, but It didn't. Is what my opponent trying to copy just another frog? Like, is that what it is? So they can copy the psychic frog here, and then yeah, I'm kind of regretting not playing this prismatic vista. Then I wouldn't have lost this hydroponics architect. So yeah, that was a big misplay there. I always make some like stupid mistakes by like not always like playing out the lanes. Wow, a Kaito.
This is where the housewarming party has arrived. Your secrets didn't stay hidden for long.
It's a tap land.
Must keep fighting.
So I can even interrupt her this turn. I think that's like the best course of action. And hopefully they don't have a land here. If they do, not much you can do.
I've got you beat 6 different ways.
Okay, opponent found another land. So they're going to Lazov. And if that fails, they're going to Psychic Frog, I'm assuming. Well, even if I even interrupt her, they can just play the Psychic Frog and then block. But I guess I would be able to kill the Kaito. Mystical Dispute. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Lazov copying a Moonshadow. Right? That's a 7 damage.
Don't worry. I've got an exit strategy.
So, I mean, Lazov is going to copy the Moonshadow next turn. Which will probably result in us dying. Yeah, looks like we're about to die here. They copy the Moonshadow and then we take 7 damage and we have to find an answer for this Lazov. Which we do have only 3 more copies of. So we need to have Fragment Reality next game instead of this Glen Elendra. And we also need to find our Rest in Peace. Egg also doesn't seem too bad now that we have seen their deck. Divine Purge seems okay. Okay. We have a pretty decent hand this time. We're going first with the reprieve, so that's always welcome. Opponent has a really cool deck, by the way. It is a really cool deck. Very, very cool deck. Okay, so we Aven Interrupter. Seems like this is a Mystical Dispute. I can play Tameo plus Archon.
If you need me, I'll be in the library.
Yeah, there was a stop when I played Tameo there. Nice. I'll keep this one. We have a High Noon. Okay, goodbye, High Noon. We actually don't have a really great hand versus a blue-black. Like, we have Divine Purges, which also kind of does nothing. And then we have a Ganja Start, which also doesn't let me play the Fading Hope twice. Just kind of a bad deal. Kind of a bad deal. Oh wow, they're willing to counter for that. Interesting. Yeah, honestly, I would not have countered. IMO. Maybe I just Divine Purge then? I'll just Divine Purge then. A 4-mana Frog, not too shabby. Didn't play the 4-mana Frog. Okay, only draws one. A Spell Queller. I think I'll just Spell Queller this and then try to... Oh, that's actually really good. Archon there is actually sick. Because even if they get a Prismatic Vista, they can't activate the Fatal Push now. Since it comes in tapped, you know? I think we're in a pretty good spot. Oh wow, they played Bitter Triumph. Okay, opponent still only gets to draw 1 card. But I do have a problem with the Quantum Riddler coming down, potentially, like, in the future.
Is there a deeper meaning to this passage?
A Tameo.
Nothing like warm tea and a fast
Into a Fatal Push. I think I'll draw a card. Okay. I'm actually surprised we're actually still stuck on land. We're playing 26. Okay. They're not gonna attack. So we play Archon again. Now if they draw, you know, a Fatal Push and a Prismatic Vista, they can't actually activate it. Nice. That was insane, by the way. 17 cards, and we've only seen 3 lands. Like, we play 19 plus 2 sync, so that's 21 plus 4 copies of Lorwyn revealed, so that's, oh, okay, 25. I thought it was 26. Alright, we're gonna take out Divine Purge, Fragment Reality. I'm not so sure about the Force of Negation. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna take out 1 copy of Remand, maybe a High Noon. High Noon is like alright, but against a deck that has a lot of like interactions, like instant speed removals and whatnot, it can become a little bit of a dead card. Maybe I'll go like this, going second. Right, beautiful hand. Time you'll start.
Perhaps there are more useful texts down on the surface.
I'm only going Hydroponics Architect just because there's no Brainstorm in the format. Psychic Frog. Alright, I'll play the Tameo here.
Oh, how
Now,
much
probably
only one project.
Fragment Reality on their upkeep here. The reason why I'm doing it like this, ooh. Okay, so yeah, the reason why I'm doing it like this is because Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see if I can Fragment Reality the Psychic Frog here. Oh wow, Test of Talent. Okay, they went for that. We have an Aang. I might just I might just bounce the Psychic Frog right now. I don't want to get like Mystical Disputed. They can kind of see my hand. I can sing it to Stupor, the Psychic Frog here. Let's see what they do. So that's what they're gonna do. Okay, Psychic Frog comes out again. A lot of reprieves. I'll probably have to let the Psychic Frog attack here. No. So counter spell comes out. Play another Hydroponics Architect. I'll play another Aven Interrupter. Okay, I'm gonna pass. So I have the Aang transformation. Thoughtseize, sure. They're gonna take away one of my creatures, probably. I have a very strong hand. So they're gonna pass. They have a removal spell. They have a sink. Okay, so I can Aang again, bounce the Psychic Frog. Oh, we have a Fading Hope, actually. That's really good. And then attack. Wow, Toxic Deluge. Didn't expect that. That's pretty bad, actually. If we just had one more land. It's always that one more land we can't get. Okay, High Noon is actually insane here. That actually might have won us the game. Maybe High Noon is actually the nuts against opponent. Yeah, maybe so. It actually might be the nuts. Yeah. Actually could be the nuts here. I shock in, sink to stupor, and then play an Aang. And then I leave up a reprieve. Aang is actually really good, by the way. I'm actually quite impressed. Like, it can become a huge creature, things like that. It's just a great card. Really, really good card. Alright, GG's. Alright, so we took a look at blue-white High Noon deck today. It's one of the most hated decks in this format, but I needed to try it because now all the hype is around the Hydroponics Architect with the Lorwyn revealed. And I also wanted to try out Aang instead of a Talion here. This used to be a card that we played before here, maybe 2 or 3 copies of, but we tried out Aang today, and Aang was actually very, very sweet. Very similar to Talion, except that this can't target any non-land permanent, it's just creatures or spells. It's pretty good if you can set up with the High Noon, but it has an additional perk here, Waterbend 8, to transform this card into 5/5 that says whenever this card attacks, put +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control. So it's kind of a game ender at the same time, and having a reach and trample is also really good. In a previous iteration of this deck, we didn't really play any of the, one-mana creatures. We played 2 copies of Tamio before, but that was kind of the extent of our deck. And the only reason why we actually played Tamio before and only 2 copies of it is because opponent would play something like a Fragment Reality on our 3-mana creatures, and we don't have anything to cascade into from a Fragment Reality. So, but now we even play things like Hydroponics Architect, which pairs up very nicely with the Prismatic Vistas and Lorwyn Revealed. And a lot of the games we won was because we had Hydroponics Architect start into our Prismatic Vista or Lorwyn Revealed. And even in some games where we didn't have like things like a High Noon or Archon, just playing a bunch of flash creatures and, countering them, things like that, that'll just sometimes win you the game. So, like, we have so many 3-mana cards here, which is pretty tough to answer. Unless opponent has like a revolt trigger on the, Prismatic Vista and things like that. And it becomes even worse. Like, let's say like I remand a fatal push while like a High Noon's down on the battlefield when they finally triggered their revolt trigger. But, the push gets sent back to their hand, and now they have to figure out another way of proccing the revolt trigger to get rid of our 3-mana cards. So, like I said, like, Jund has some problems dealing with our 3-mana creatures as a result. And it also doesn't help that the Prismatic Vista comes in tapped when the Archon's down on the battlefield. That's also really good. Post sideboard, we also have things like Rest in Peace, which I kind of want one more copy of against the Jund deck because I feel like the Rest in Peace is just absolutely a bomb versus it. Like it stops Jar Soul, the Goibs. It's just an insane card from what I can tell. So I want 3 copies of Rest in Peace. I think the games where I kind of want to bring the Harbingers, I never really wanted to bring more than 2 copies of it. So like, yeah, instead of an Aang, I would bring like 2 copies of Harbinger. So maybe I can go down on a copy of Harbinger. Yeah, I mean, the deck was pretty sweet. We're playing 21 untapped lands, by the way. 19 plus 2 copies of Sing to Stupor. And we have 4 copies of Lorwyn Revealed, which can, get some more lands. Potentially, because we are playing Lorwyn Revealed, instead of starting town, maybe, potentially, we want the Triumph. But I have a starting town because it's untapped and it supports, High Noon, being able to, blast your opponent for 5 damage. It does actually come up pretty often when the 5 damage is actually pretty relevant. So yeah, fun deck, especially if you're the one playing it. If not, it is a nightmare to play against. You definitely need some removable spells against things like High Noon and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.